Good day, friends. It's Betsy. I'm here for our weekly wellness check-in. This is chair yoga most weeks, and we're still going to use a chair, but we're standing while we use the chair today. A lot of good upper body opening and stretch today. In addition to a chair, I would love for you to have a yoga strap. And you're probably thinking, I don't have a yoga strap. It looks like this, which is like a belt, so you could literally use a belt. Another really great option is a scarf or a full-size towel, bath towel. Yeah? So grab one of those things, hit pause, grab it, and come back. Okay, and then I want you to stand with your feet about hip distance apart. And these are like little things, details can really matter and help us to recognize how we're moving through the world. So when I say stand hip distance apart, do yourself this favor, bend your knees and just look over a bit. Can you find a little bit of that bony point at the top of your hip? And then sort of trace a line down to the middle of your knee. We want those things to mostly line up with one another. And then from the middle of the knee, as if you're continuing to trace that line through the middle of the foot. And if it goes straight ahead, over about the second and third toes. So exaggerating here, if the knees are folded in, they are over the big toes. For some folks, we tend to stand with our feet a little turned out, and that makes the knees go wider towards the pinky toes. We're going as parallel as we can. And then stand up nice and tall. Okay. Still going on to these details, find again those little bony hip points with that little bend in your knees. What can you do to make the hip points push more into your body? Push your seat back and wide. And then stand up and pull the seat down so that the hip points would extend more to the front. We'll keep a little bend in the knees, and I just want you to rock a little bit forward and back in the pelvis. As you push back, broaden across the low back. As you pull down, strengthen more in the abdomen. Forward and back. And then come up and stand as neutral as you can, meaning those hip points aren't too far forward and they're not too far back. Right in the center. Relax the shoulders up and down a couple of times. So how we're carrying ourselves in the lower body connects to how we're carrying ourselves in the upper body. Just a few breaths here in what we call mountain pose. The yoga terminology for this pose is Tadasana. I always think, ta-da! So as full here and standing pose as possible. Okay. Stretch the arms up to the sky and then back down. So keeping that nice neutral position in the spine, we'll grab a hold of the yoga strap, whatever you're using for your strap. Set the feet well and take the strap out in front of you. And you're going to start with your hands pretty wide here. Big wide V shape. Arms all the way up to the sky and trying to keep the strap, the towel, the scarf pretty taut. Take the arms down and behind you. And while you're doing this, Try not to move around so much in the lower body so we keep that connection of foundation. Arms as straight as possible, as even as possible, I should say, as we go up and back. You can certainly have a little bend in the elbows. Okay, and then you kind of check in with yourself. Can I go a little more narrow in that strap? I'll show you from the side here. We're going up, and there's usually a point as we get right back behind the head that things get a little bit sticky, and we'll want to go like one side down and then the other. I want you to resist doing that. Instead, when you get to that sticky point, if you realize you need to go wider, just slip your hands a little wider apart and try to get past it. Back down to the waist. And it gets sticky again as you come back up to the top. Sometimes it's just slowing down enough to have full awareness as you move through. And I want to try this just a couple more times, just up and back. It's pretty slow. So one other thing that happens on the sticky point, often I just lift up to the heel, I'll lift the heels off the ground, so I'm on tippy toes, and that lift of tippy toes somehow gives me an extra inch or two in the spine to get past the sticky point. And then I've still kept that neutral pelvis as I go up and back. This is a really nice exercise to add in to your workflow. You start to feel a little slumped midday. It totally opens us up across the shoulders, chest, upper body, and just brings in more air. So good. Okay. For now, we'll set that aside, but know that in your own time, maybe you like a little bit more. I usually go 3 or 4 times, and then I try to shorten the grip 3 or 4 more times, shorten the grip, something like that. Okay, one more shoulder stretch. Hold on to the back of your chair, and then walk back until you're trying to make an L shape in your body. One line, and kind of pulling off the back of the chair a bit. You could also do this with your hands just at the wall and then walking back. I like the grip of the chair. I've mentioned this before a few weeks back. We did it at like a kitchen counter, bathroom counter, if you have enough space. And then walk back in. Take your right hand where your left hand currently is, so it's a little bit of a side stretch, and walk back again. Other hand can just go to the hip to help with placement. Then walk in. Switch, left hand more towards the right side, and walk back. Be easy to get that sort of stuckness in the head, neck, and shoulders. So this is trying to give us some length and space. Walk back in. Okay. Go back to 2 hands one more time. You'll notice I have a little bend in my knees, or a lot of bend in the knees, because I do want this to be about stretching through shoulders, upper back, room across the low back. I'm not so worried about getting the stretch into the legs right now. Okay, and then walk back in. Individual shoulder rolls. Tadasana. Look down, feet hip distance apart, toes straight ahead, heels straight back. Take in a couple of breaths. I hope you're feeling a little more spacious than when you started 10 minutes ago. Just a little easier through the breath and body. Okay. Enjoy the rest of your day. Namaste.